Welcome, everybody. It's January, and we're here to talk about Lorcana. We're going to give an update on what's going on with Lorcana, what's the latest on prices. There's a new set coming out in March. I can't believe there's already a new set coming out. It feels like we just got the second set, Rise of the Floodborn. So I'm joined once again by Andy. Andy, we're filming this in late January. What's your take on Lorcana right now?
I guess my take is kind of the same as it was a month or so ago. Like, I have no idea who's playing this game. And like, it just kind of seems it's in a little bit of a lull. It's between sets. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on. Like, there's no big tournaments. Everybody's just kind of waiting for the next set to drop, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I think that the excitement of the first set, has worn off, and the second set, I think had some interesting cards, but it didn't really hit the same way, I don't think. And we'll talk a little bit about prices here. Prices for the first set have kind of crept back up. The second set is currently under MSRP, which is a fascinating thing, which leads me to believe that a lot of scalpers lost their shirts on this, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that, like, speculation is that Ravensburger's kind of pulled the plug a little bit on some of the print runs. Like, so, and that was through like some like tweets or something, Twitter, Facebook posts, something on Instagram. I don't know where exactly it originated from, but it was like somebody messaged Ravensburger and was like, "Hey, what's going on with the next print run?" And they're like, we not confirmed or denied. There's another print run coming. We'll send more messaging out at a future date, which, it's like very vague. And I think a lot of people interpret it as they stopped printing. This is it. This is all that's getting printed. And so prices are starting to kind of like climb back up. There were some other announcements with like organized play that maybe got some people interested in jumping back in, but it's kind of hard to make heads or tails of what kind of goes on with some of this market stuff.
So I think with Ravensburger, I've been so disappointed by their corporate communication methods. Like, it's like a real black hole. Like,
Yeah.
Even the way they've teased out sets, I'm just like, guys, like, you kind of figured out printing, which props to you. Like, that's great that you got a bunch of product out. And I just want to look at this graph here a little bit. So this is on TCG Player, so it sort of tracks prices, right? So, if you wanted to buy a box around Christmas, it was essentially $50 cheaper than it is right now. And I think what I've seen the discourse is that there's some people that are trying to say that, if you bought a day one box, that has a different sort of print quality, a different signifying factor. Like, basically, like, if you bought a box in August, that's different from buying a box in October. And they're trying to split the market and say that there's a real first edition versus the second printing and third printing. And I'm not sold on any of that. I think that's just people.
Yeah, I don't really buy that. I mean, I think there was like, I want to say 6 cards that received like errata already. Yes. And like the stuff that was printed at Gen Con in like, August, September time had like the original printing. And then when they did the reprint in like October, November, they like updated the text to reflect the errata. So there are like 6 cards that you could point to and be like, these are genuinely first edition because they were from the August print run, but everything else is the same.
So moving a little bit towards Rise of the Floodborn, man, if you bought the pre-sale of Rise of the Floodborn at $400 or whatever, $370 a box, yikes, man, yikes! Because there's no erotic cards here. Like, this is just lack of demand and overprinting of a product. And this is frankly what probably should have happened with the first set. It's not a bad thing for this to be under MSRP. That doesn't mean that the market's dead. It means that product is accessible, and that's what you want if you want to have a vibrant playing community. You want to do draft. But yeah, I think that there was a lot of the hype from the first set where everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go buy out Target and then try flipping it on Facebook. And people, I think, lost some money because they're sitting on boxes that are now worth $120. MSRP is 140, 139, something like that, depending where you're at. So kind of a rough rough time for scalpers, which I have no problem with them sitting on two cases of Rise of the Floodborn that they swear, bro, are worth more. But I want to transition a little bit to the third set. So the third set's coming out, I believe, beginning of March. They're doing a similar model where they had it up here. Basically, the similar model that they are going to, release it first at local game stores, and then it's going to come to, big box of like 2 weeks later. But I think right now you'd have to be an absolute dummy to buy this over MSRP. So right now we have a 170, $172 basically, and you see this pretty precipitous drop here as well.
Yep.
This set's gonna end up around 120 as well.
Sure.
There's just no reason to be buying this. Just wait until the third week of March, and you can save yourself $50 a booster box. That's my 2 cents on this. So just be patient, guys. I promise. Now you see Pongo here. Is that Pongo the Dalmatian from
101 Dalmatians dog? Who knows what it is? And you get you can see there's a Mini and Jafar, so it's all like the same characters, which is fine. I guess it really depends on like gameplay, but a lot of this is just going to be driven from the organized play, which like right now is just like in-store leagues, and like honestly it doesn't even really matter. Like I have no idea who is playing in an in-store league. I'm sure they exist, they give out league promos, that type of stuff, but like at the end of the day, like I don't know who's going on. I mean, you can play it online on Pixelborn, which I've thought about, but it's just like, do I really want to sit down after work and fire up Pixelborn to play Lorcana for an hour or two? Like, not really. Maybe if there was like a mobile app, or like, and I'm sure there's some way that I could put it onto my phone or download it. And I don't know. I don't want to even bother with it because it's like I don't really care enough. Without a really structured, organized play, like organized play in competitive play is really what drives card prices. It's not really the casual markets that drive card prices. And without organized play, like a robust organized play system, like the card prices just aren't there. I mean, sure, the enchanted cards, like the full art foil stuff, is like some money, but like at this point, who is buying packs of cards to rip them? Like honestly, the cards are worth like 20, like you get like any rare, like almost for like 20 cents on TCG Player.
Yeah.
Like the cards just aren't worth anything. So, I guess you could try to rip for a enchanted. Maybe good luck.
Terrible value proposition right there. I will say they are announcing a world championship starting, I think, around Christmas of 2024, which is
it's a long time from now. You got almost a whole year, 11 months till that happens. I'm sure there'll be like a tournament circuit to qualify for worlds. I'm sure there'll be like, all sorts of different feeder tournaments into that over the summer. Maybe people who play at Origins or Gen Con, Dragon Con, like the big summer gaming conventions, you win or you top 8 or top 16, you get an invite or something. Like I'm sure there'll be some of that goes on, but like you still have 11 months. And to be honest, there's going to be, you got set 3 coming out in March. You got set 4 coming out in May. You got set 5 coming out in August. You got set 6 coming out like probably right around. I mean, you got 4 more sets coming out. Like that's a lot more cards. Who knows? Like it just seems like a really aggressive like release strategy for a game that doesn't have like tournament legs.
Yeah, and I know that folks are going to be in the comments. Oh, my local game store has some local play, but I think the things attracting are there, like, does the state of Virginia have a state championship going on, right? Like, is it happening in May where people are rallying, like the big organized play that isn't just your store that's, every other Wednesday. I mean, I think the game has lots of potential, but the aggressive release schedule, I think, is also just there will be sets that people just skip, right? It's going to be like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
they probably could have got away with releasing 3 sets a year rather than four sets a year.
Yeah. And I'm also surprised, and maybe this is part of the business plan, but there's no upcharge products available. So there's no collector boosters, there's no draft, there's just one product and starters. And I think the cash cows tend to be, of any community, the collectors are the ones that are going to be paying the money for the Enchanted. So
Sure.
I think doing something like a collector booster, but this is how Magic makes all of its money. Serialized cards, these are all sort of things that are trendy in collectibles right now and also drive people to buy packs.
Right. They did all the full art foils, which like they originally weren't going to do. Can you imagine how much these cards would be worth if those things weren't around? Because people rip the product just to get them. Like if they didn't have those, like there'd be like the top rares would be like $3. It'd be ridiculous. So it's like
I agree.
It's just the diversification of the product line is not great. I mean, you get the gift box, which comes with tokens to play on. It's like, I don't care about that. They have a trove. I don't even know what's in it, 10 packs or something. And then, like, you've got starter decks, which is like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not buying a game just to buy starter decks. I'll just get the cards that I want. So you just have booster boxes, and it's like, okay, great. There's 200 cards in this set. It's not gonna, and you put 2 rares per pack. Like it's gonna take me not very long to get everything I need.
Yeah,
and I'll just go to a TCG player and get it anyway because
that's actually my big recommendation, guys. Don't buy sealed products. Just buy it all on TCG Player. You can probably get a complete set for a fraction of the cost of trying to rip it in boxes, and then you don't end up with just a ton of extra stuff that you don't know what to do with.
Right.
So there's some encouraging things here. The market seems to have sort of stabilized, and I just think there needs to be more people playing this game. And I mean, Pixelborn is also like a third-party product. Sure. It could get shut down, and Disney's like, I don't like you guys using our IP in this way. Like, it could just get shut down. So I think even adding a little bit, like if Ravensburger, this is officially endorsed or blessed in some way, that might help with stability and also a mobile app. The future of CCGs is mobile, right? Magic Arena, they finally figured it out. Just porting everything over to mobile is probably the way to. People can play this, on their metro ride into work or whatever. I'm probably that's a metro ride in. Most people just drive their cars, but whatever.
Play while you drive. Actually, don't do that.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up there. Lorcana continues to be just a fascinating space. I hope it does well. It's very fun to play. I actually enjoyed playing it. It was whenever I play, I'm just like, oh, this is like Magic, but not cluttered. Like Magic is so cluttered by interactions at this point where I'm just like, this is like, I need like a 70-page rule manual to remember what all the keywords are and the interactions. And so it's kind of nice to have just like a more streamlined thing. Oh, one thing I did want to say is the new set is introducing locations, which as the inner Star Wars CCG person, I'm just like, of course locations are making a comeback. Locations are back, baby. All right, but that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.